You're listening to Song Exploder, where musicians take apart their songs and piece by piece tell the story of how they were made. My name is Hrishikesh Hirway. Hey, if you have a second to help me out, I'm trying to learn more about Song Exploder listeners, and I'd love to get your thoughts on the podcast. There's a little survey questionnaire thing at songexploder.net/survey. It'll only take a couple minutes to fill out, and it would be super, super helpful for me. Okay, again, the address is songexploder.net/survey. I'd love to hear what you think. Thank you so much. Song Exploder is sponsored by Capital One. If you're ready for a new ride, but you're not sure where to start, meet the tool that makes car shopping and financing easier. With Capital One Auto Navigator, you can find a car and get pre-qualified instantly. You'll get your real rate and monthly payment without even impacting your credit score. It's so simple, you might feel like you're taking the easy way out. That's because you are. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/autonavigator. Song Exploder is sponsored by DistroKid. DistroKid has always been the easiest, fastest, and least expensive way to upload all your music to streaming services like Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, and more. But they offer so much more, including a wide range of free promotional tools for artists, like a promotional website that includes links to your music on streaming services, and more. DistroKid will even automatically pay your collaborators, so you don't have to hire an accountant. To get 10% off your first year's membership, just head to distrokid.com/VIP/songexploder. Lianne Havas is a singer and songwriter from London. She's been nominated for a Grammy and a Brit Award, and in 2020, she released her third album. In this episode, she breaks down her song Can't Fight and traces its evolution, along with her own evolution, over several years.
My name is Lianne Havas. The idea first came into my head about 7 or 8 years ago. My boyfriend at the time was a bass player, and he was showing me all these videos of different bass players that he liked, and Victor Wooten came up, and this song he had called Me and My Bass Guitar. It's just the most amazing use of the bass. Me and my bass guitar. That's right. So basically my boyfriend was teaching me a version of it that could be played on guitar. So I was having loads of fun, like playing the guitar in a new way. Then, I remember just sitting alone, as I do, in my house with a cup of tea. And I just started playing a nice chord that I liked. But I had the muscle memory from learning this Victor Wooten piece. So then a sort of hammer-on percussive riff started happening with the chord that I liked. When I write a guitar part, it can't be anything that doesn't challenge me, because I like feeling that challenge when I'm singing and playing. It kind of evokes writing in me. It makes me more likely to want to write to something. I started playing guitar when I was 18 years old, so just over 13 years ago now. The only reason I didn't learn guitar as an actual child was because I didn't believe, from what I saw, that any girls were playing guitar. It was mostly boys that I saw playing guitar, so that made me not want to do it. But I saw girls playing piano and it felt accessible to me. And so that became my hobby and my outlet. And then it wasn't until 18, inspired by women playing guitar, I wanted to learn everything. And it just made me really love it so much. I remember when I figured out the first rhythm that I learned, I just remember being so deeply satisfied in a new way. I said, if I can do that with this rhythm, it means I can do that with another rhythm and another one and another one. So as I started writing more and more songs, I used to try and look for a new rhythm for every song that I wrote so that none of them would be the same. I don't like waste. If there's a piece of guitar or a melody or some words that haven't been used yet in something, then I've got this idea that I'm going to use everything up before I make a new thing. But basically, it was just that one chord, just something I play when I'm practicing or when I'm warming up, because it just feels nice under the fingers. And it stayed like that for all these years until I was in a session with Mura Masa, and it was just figuring out where we should start. Mura Masa, or Alex, is a wonderful chap. I discovered his music 5 years ago, and I was like, who the hell is that? That's amazing. I love the sound. I love the rhythm. So I just asked to meet him, and I ended up doing a session with him, and there was like immediate trust. And when I played him that riff, that's when he said, oh, we should record that. We should make something out of that. So he took my guitar and then started overdubbing another part on top of my riff. The bit that goes do-do, do-do, do-dum, 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 or something like that. I guess he found the bass line. And when he did that, it signaled what the rest of the chords should be. And then that's what made it a verse. It's as simple as that, because for 7 years, I had that riff, not knowing what to do with it. But as soon as you put a couple of bass notes on it, it turns it into another thing. So I was finally able to stand outside of it and work with it. The chords on the chorus stand out because one of them was a chord that I had just learnt, and this chord is my new favourite chord. It's the first chord of that. I don't know the name of it. This is my big dirty secret that I'm hiding. I'm sorry, jazz police. I'm sorry, now I'm just thinking about all of the jazz people who were just shouting at their phones, telling me what this chord is. Please send me a tweet at Lianne Havas. Thank you. It just feels like a huge relief meeting someone like Alex. When you meet someone who gets you, it's just a really big deal. I remember doing the chorus and the melody, we were even sort of accidentally both singing the same thing in the same place. A little peace, a little love, I give it in, get it over. I can't find a way this love, get it up a little way, oh, a little peace, a little love, oh, I can't find a way. I think the first time I thought about lyrics was probably when we were humming to ourselves, getting the track into a good place to be sung on. But at the time of writing this song, I was going through, I'm just going to say it, I was in a very toxic relationship. And it was very hard for me in a lot of ways. I just felt a bit powerless in many respects. It took a lot of my energy. It took a lot of my confidence away. And there was definitely a lot of uncertainty whether we would stay together or whether we wouldn't. Or basically I tried to leave many times and couldn't. Or for whatever reason, it was very hard and I would always go back. But this is the kind of beginning of noticing, hang on, something is terribly wrong here. Why do I feel so helpless? Why am I always anxious? And I guess this song was like the last inkling of the positive, like when I was still looking at it through rose-tinted lenses, when to me, in my head, it wasn't as toxic as it actually was. I had some space, basically, when I had this session with Alex. Safe space, I guess, you know. I didn't have anything to prove to anyone. So the concept of can't fight, it was like, there's still a part of me that thinks of it fondly, and perhaps I should give it one more chance. And so that is basically where the premise came from for the rest of the lyric.
I can't fight away this love. I knew that I should give you up. I tried to run, but got my heart stuck. I can't fight away this love. Can't fight away this love.
Alex and I felt pretty good about it. And we just sort of knew when to leave it. But this song for me was one of those curveball ones. Basically, I felt like the melody was quite, for lack of a better term, poppy. It felt quite accessible, more than I'm maybe comfortable with. And that is something I had to accept, that I was the creator of this melody and these chords. Therefore, it's okay that they've come out this way. I went through this phase of not listening to it, and then I went through a phase of not being able to stop listening to it. I found it extremely uplifting because maybe the optimism in the music helped it to be easier to express difficult feelings. Sometimes when the music is also very melancholic and you're talking about something really dark, maybe that's too much. So part of that helped to keep it from slipping into a very despairing mood. So I did the writing of the lyrics with my longtime writing partner and collaborator, Mr. Matt Hales, aka Aqualung. He's really good at helping me flesh things out and make them a real thing. And I brought him these recordings and I said, okay, here's the vague outline. And I explained everything to Matt. I said, look, we broke up again and then we got back together again. And we just wrote all the words and recorded it all at Real World Studios.
It seems that I won't be warned. And certainly I saw a sign. I raged like a woman scorned.
The lyrics are quite serious, you know. It's like, seems like I won't be warned. And certainly I saw a sign. I raged like a woman scorned after I had broken up again. But that one felt more final. It wasn't final, but it was just enough to capture the essence of how I was feeling at the time.
The things that I want and need, they always seem to be at odds with me. Why? When did heaven get this heavy? Everything's right until it's wrong, but something about you feels like a home. Baby, you know that you got me gone. You're pulling me back and now I'm going under. Oh.
I was saying exactly how I felt, but singing it in this way that made it feel good for me. I was very much over it, but the chorus had already been written. So we kept the can't fight away this love, and it just made sense. The getting back together and the back and forth, because it wasn't over. I knew it wasn't really over at that point.
I can't fight away this love. I knew that I should give you up. I tried to run, but got my heart stuck. I can't find a way this love. Can't find a way this love.
In the summer after that, I did finally say goodbye, and I was in a new headspace. It's like as soon as I made that decision for good, things started getting done, and I felt really good about everything and confident and capable. So I got my band involved, my bass player and drummer. Our approach was to keep it very minimal to begin with. And we tried just adding a few little clicky rim shot things. But it was during the moment when my drummer was getting ready to do his take, he was playing a really great beat just in that moments before you press record. And I was like, wait, that's it. That's the beat. The strings were arranged by a lovely chap named Davida. In the original demo, there are these programmed harps that I did with Mura Masa, but that ended up not quite fitting. So we wanted something to fill that space. I think it brings a really nice drama and a seriousness to it, a sort of sophistication, just for the final part of the song.
I can't find a way this love. I knew that I should give you up. I tried to run, but got my heart stuck. I can't find a way this love. Can't find a way this love.
Now that I know what I know about the nature of toxic relationships and abusive relationships, it's very obvious to me now why certain things happened and, you know, why I may have behaved that way. But no, at the time, I just thought I needed to try harder. I have forgiven myself, but the girl in the song, it makes me want to pick her up and shake her. You know, if only you'd known what you know now. But at the same time, if I did, that song wouldn't exist. And I wouldn't have had all the pleasure I got from making it. None of that would exist either. This was my way of making it beautiful. That's why I don't think any ideas are useless or should be thrown away. Any sessions that I do that maybe weren't fruitful, I don't think that they were unnecessary because it made me learn something. The happiest that I ever am is when I'm making songs. So strangely, this process for me was one of the happiest times of my entire life. But what it's about is almost certainly the darkest time in my entire life. But music offered me that pleasurable, safe space where I could be confident, I could be myself.
And now, here's Can't Fight by Lianne Havas in its entirety.
It seems that I won't be warned, and certainly I saw a sign I raised like a woman scorned. But something about you got me gone. You're pulling me back and I'm going under. A little peace, a little love, a little bliss, is that enough? Can't find a way this love. I knew that I should give you up. I tried to run, but got my heart stuck. I can't find a way this love. Can't find a way this love. The things that I want and need, they always seem to be odds on me. Why? When did heaven get this heavy? Everything's right until it's wrong, but something about you feels like a home. Baby, you know that you got me gone. You're pulling me back and now I'm going under. A little peace, a little love, a little bit, is that enough? I can't fight away this love. I knew that I should give it up. I tried to run, but got my heart stuck. I can't fight away this love. Can't fight a peace, a little love, a little bit, is that enough? I can't fight away this love. I knew that I should give you up. I tried to run, got my heart stuck. I can't fight away this love. 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 Knew that I can't give you up. I can't fight away this love. I can't fight away this love. Can't fight away this
To learn more, visit songexploder.net. You'll find links to buy or stream Can't Fight, and you can watch the music video. Song Exploder is sponsored by Allbirds, who make the fantastic weather-repellent running shoe, the Wool Dasher Mizzle. As somebody who lives in Los Angeles, I know I've lost all privileges to complain about winter weather to anyone, anywhere, but it's really hard to get motivated to run, especially for me, and especially when it's cold and wet out. But you still got to do it. And this winter, I'm keeping my feet cozy and dry on my runs with the Allbirds Wool Dasher Mizzle, and you can too. They're made using natural materials to have a low environmental impact. So discover your perfect pair at allbirds.com today. That's ALLBIRDS.com. Song Exploder is brought to you by Progressive. Are you thinking more about how to tighten up your budget these days? Drivers who save by switching to Progressive save over $700 on average, and customers can qualify for an average of 6 discounts when they sign up. A little off your rate each month goes a long way. Get a quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2020 and May 2021. Potential savings will vary. Discounts vary and are not available in all states and situations. This episode was made by me with editing help from Teeny Lieberson and Casey Deal, artwork by Carlos Lerma, and music clearance by Kathleen Smith. Song Exploder is a proud member of Radiotopia from PRX, a network of independent, listener-supported, artist-owned podcasts. You can learn more about our shows at radiotopia.fm. And if you'd like to support the podcast, you can get a Song Exploder t-shirt at songexploder.net/shirt. You can also follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Song Exploder. My name is Hrishikesh Hirway. Thanks for listening.
Radiotopia from PRX.
Here's some exciting news from two of my fellow Radiotopians, the Kitchen Sisters. The Library of Congress is acquiring their full body of work. It's an incredible honor for Davia Nelson and Nikki Silva, and I couldn't be prouder to be their colleague. Their entire archive of stories, interviews, oral histories, research, and field notes are going to become part of the creative record of America. If you haven't heard their podcast, The Kitchen Sisters Present, today's a great day to start. It's one of the best podcasts out there, and they've won pretty much every award that an audio storyteller can win. And if you listen, you'll know why. The Kitchen Sisters Present. Listen everywhere you find podcasts and at kitchensisters.org.